Hello, my book reader friend, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Robin, and as you can tell from the title, and we're going to be reading a Librarian choice in this video, and they chose The Poppy War by R.F. Kong. And I know this was a Women Wars a book club pick, so I will leave the links in the description below. And I was planning to read it when they were going to be reading it, but I wanted to read A Court of Rings of Ruin instead, so I could finish that series. And in this, I know that The Poppy War is about a girl named Rin, which is funny because I almost named my son Rin, so I already like the name already. It's about her wanting not to be sent off to be married, and she wants to, prove to herself that she's meant to be in this world because she is a war orphan. So both her parents are deceased, and she is known as the low citizen of the bar. And I know that eventually she will be going to war because obviously it's called the Poppy War. So that's my guess. And I'm looking forward to this read. I've heard many great things about this book. I hope you enjoy. literally leave the house already because I do not like the adoptive mother, or she calls her an aunt in the story, that Rin has to deal with. And she pretty much is taking care of the store and is an opium dealer. And she found out that she's going to be buttered up and pretty much like Mulan, prettied up for, I think they call him a mayor or something, to be married. And she does not want that, so she had to figure out a way to get out of that situation. And she thought the only way to do that is to take the test to go to the academy to be taken as a soldier. So she asked the teacher that helps with studying that to please take her in, and she bribes him with, I think, like a bag or so or two of opium to please teach her or train her to study what is on the test. And he finally agreed after the bribe and everything else and testing her on her study habits, and he said yes. So she's studying and studying, and then she finally just breaks, and she told her teacher that she might not be able to do it. And he was telling her a story about how someone was trying to quit and he was in pain, and she had an idea of, well, if she can trigger pain while studying, she'll be able to stay up, because her problem was she kept falling asleep. So she tied her hair to the back of her head, and every time she was dozing off, it pulled her hair, and then she kept studying until she was literally like this, passing out constantly. And when the test arrived, she was doing the test, and then she could not remember anything at the test. So when they got the results, she had no clue what she got at all, what even some of the questions were. So when they're waiting in line, the crowd was like talking and everything else, and they laid her away so she could see the board. And she's looking, she's thinking, she's at the bottom, so she's looking, and she started to forget. She's like, I don't see my name, And then she finally looks all the way up, and she tested the top of everyone in the village. And that meant she was able to go to the academy, because if she wasn't able to make a perfect score, she wouldn't be able to go at all, because her aunt told her that they would not pay for her, so she had to be at top of her game, because it's free to go to the academy. And she made it, and she was very proud of that happening. So they got her ready to go to the academy, and she was saying goodbye to her aunt and her, I think it's half brother, and he didn't want her to leave. And she explained, I had to have left anyways, because I was being brought up to be a wife. And she told him, you'll be okay. You are Auntie's son, so you will be okay when I leave. So they went into a carriage and went to the city, to the academy. And of course, who do we meet beside the person that is the tour guide of the building, to let him know this is where this building is, this is where this will be. And he apparently is very rude to her teacher and her, because she's from the Rooster district, and they are known for being low class and uneducated and very dark skinned. So when the tour guide and the teacher left, she heard him talking to another classmate about how the teacher was so hard to walk up the building and everything else. And she didn't like him being rude because the teacher helped her a lot. So she told him, you need to be polite. And when he started talking about her, she went up and punched him. And then the teacher came and explained, there's no fighting at all in the academy. So please walk away from each other. And of course, he is one of the high class in her year. And then before even class started, she picks a fight with someone. And of course, he tells his classmates, please do not have anything to do with her, which involves them picking on her, calling her names. Every time she talked, they would laugh at her. So I'm getting like Mulan vibes, pretty much, because she's outed by everybody and just wants to, survive, so she doesn't go back to her hometown. And I feel for her because, you just want to survive in this era, and I'm hoping that she does, because, she's doing all this work. She got here. Now she has to make sure that, she stays, because she comes to find out in her first class that you may have made it, but that doesn't mean you're going to survive, because you need you need combat skills. You need knowledge and everything else, and she is a war child, an orphan, and she was not brought up since she was a baby to do any of this stuff. She was brought into a store to take care of things from her stepmother, so she has to keep up with everything. She's learning as she goes, and when she gets to her first or second combat class, she gets in a fight with the same person that she got in a fight with before getting into her classes. And the instructor, of course, bans the boy for a week, and he bans the main character, Rin, completely, because the boy that she had a fight with is from a noble family, and she's not. And he takes offense to that, and he bans her. And she's trying to figure out what to do. So she goes to the library, takes out some books to see if she, can learn that way. Because he told her, you are not allowed in the classroom, you're not allowed to get any guidance from any of your classmates, teachers, instructors, and you're not allowed to go into the practice any of the weapons. And so she went into the library and saw some books, and she went into the restricted section, and she didn't realize that to get to look at some books that have some pictures, so she can do some form of like Mortal Kombat like instructions. And she found one, and unfortunately that one was in the restricted section, and they told her to please put it back, and so she said she would. And when she was away from their eyes, she put it in her shirt and went out of the building and went into the garden to practice. And she was practicing in a tree so no one would see her. And one of the instructors came from the garden into the garden, and she fumbled and she fell down backwards. So she's literally upside down, like, oh, hello, hi, how are you? And he thought she was funny. He's like, what are you doing? And he sees the book on the ground. He picks it up. He's like, oh, you are not supposed to be learning this. It's actually a band. And she's like, well, I didn't know that, because actually the instructor for my class actually banned me because of getting into a fight, and I fought with someone that was from a royal family. And he was like, what? And he's like, oh no, I will help you as best as I can. So he is starting, explaining to help her and showing her some moves, because one of the instructors that banned her from her class, they don't, with the instructor that is trying to help her, they don't get along, so he wants to make sure that she succeeds. And so far, I'm really liking the instructor, but mostly everybody, like, it's hard to understand, other than I feel like she has to prove herself more than everybody else because she's from a lower class compared to everybody else that, they learned from a younger age that, they're going to be brought up to fight and be instructors someday. And at the end, they're going to be, doing some testing, so I'm hoping that she will make it. take a pig up a mountain each day, and we found out why. And it was because the instructor wanted her to work on her upper strength. And getting ready for the test, she went and got a bunch of books from the library and studied her heart out. And when she got to the test, she was ready to take them and was very nervous. And when she got to the combat section, most of her classmates were very questionable with her because they saw everybody else train, but they had no clue on how Rin was trained and what she was capable of. So they were all nervous on how she was going to fight. And at the end, she had to fight, and she got to the end and between two people, between her and another one, so she was at the final. And unfortunately, it was the guy that she was not fond of that she hit in the beginning of the semester that she had to fight. And she knew how he battled, so she was able to predict his movements, and he was able to predict her movements. So it was iffy on how it was going to go, but in the end, she won her match, and she was chosen to do 2 instructors, and she chose the instructors that helped her in the end. And I thought that was a great way to end this part of the training session for Rin. And the next part, I think it was like not even like a few months later, there was declare of war in the nation, and then pretty much the other half of the book is going to be spoilers, but I was definitely surprised on the twist of the book that it came with, so I don't want to spoil anything because I definitely was surprised at what happened next. But definitely be warned of the trigger warnings, because wow, did they get graphic. But it was, but I got to the end of the book, and it was a very good read, and I gave the Poppy War 4 stars. I definitely am curious on how they're going to continue with this series. So I would definitely recommend this book, and I'm glad that a librarian suggested me to read this book, as well as the Women Words got me to look into the book as well, because it was a book club pick. So if you are interested in reading the Poppy War, I would definitely suggest trying it out. It's a really good read. And if you like what you see, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye!